and welcome to New Filmmakers Los Angeles in partnership with Movie Maker magazine. My name is Danny DeLillo and we're here at the Camera Los Angeles showroom in West Hollywood, and I'm here with Rafael Friedan with his movie Captain Hogan's Bed and Breakfast. Let's take a look at the clip.
Felix.
Yes, Papa.
Shh. Come with me now.
I'm busy.
Oh, Gottes Willen, let go of your schmeckel and come help me.
Feels very good, Papa. Can I help you and hold my schmeckel at the same time?
Oh, dummes Kind. One of our guests is dead on the deck.
Who is it?
Dennis.
Who?
The bald man who wants everyone to see pictures of his children.
Oh, him?
What?
I thought his name was Lenny.
Whatever his name is, we must get rid of his body. Or else we will be run out of town like the Muslims were run out of Spain in 1609. So, come to the fort. Yeah.
Rafael, congratulations on your film. You took us on an amazing journey. I laughed hard, but for those that haven't seen it, tell us a brief synopsis.
So, Captain Hogan's Bed and Breakfast is about this bed and breakfast on Long Island that's run by this eccentric German boat captain and his weird family, and it's basically about 8 guests. They're like 4 pairs of guests. Some of them are romantic couples, some of them are friends, and they come and spend this wild weekend where they end up their storylines intersect with other character storylines, and they start engaging in different kinds of relationship, both friendship and romantic, with other guests, and they all start to help each other out and learn something from each other, and especially the captain ends up being sort of this unusual mentor figure to a lot of them, and and they end up kind of helping each other resolve their various issues.
With that synopsis, why would you not want to watch it, basically? Like, honestly, I had no idea what to expect. Certainly I have my own experiences in bed and breakfast myself, but my goodness, the characters and the journey of these characters and how comical it was so, so great. Where did the inspiration come for you in creating this particular film?
Well, it started actually, I saw this Mark Duplass speech in 2015 at South by Southwest, where, I didn't see it at South by Southwest, but I saw a video of it.
Yeah.
And he, basically, he said, take what you have available to you and write a movie around that so that you can make it for less money. And so my grandmother had this house out on Long Island, and basically I could use it. So I decided I want to write a movie that's going to take place at one house. And actually around the corner from that house, the real Captain Hogan has been living, and I've known him pretty much my whole life. And he does like boat tours around the harbor, and in the last few years, after his wife passed away, he started renting out rooms in his house via Airbnb. But it became this consistent thing where he is essentially running a bed and breakfast out of his house because it's always full, and he loves to host and talk to guests. And so I just thought, okay, that is a premise right there. That could be a movie that could all take place in one house with the different guests that come.
That's
so that's
amazing.
Basically the inspiration.
I love that between that speech, between your grandma's house, and then obviously between the real captain, you made this film, and a feature film at that as well. That was so great. It was a beautiful house, by the way. Grandma's house is beautiful. But you filmed it in Long Island, and you also actually filmed and stayed in the house and made it in how many days?
It's 15 days. 15
days, a feature film in 15 days. I mean, you really guys must not have stopped. Before we get into that, you had a big cast. How was the casting process for you? Some really, really fantastic characters in there as well.
Yeah, I mean, basically, because we didn't have enough money to start, making offers to people's agents or anything like that. So we just put out casting notices on, Actors Access mainly, and Backstage too, and just, rented out a little studio room in New York to have auditions, and just had auditions and just brought in a lot of actors and
amazing.
Whittled it down, had callbacks, the whole process, and just, found the actors.
Now, once you see the film, or maybe even see the trailer, you'll notice there's a lot of intimate scenes in there that are absolutely hysterical and really, really funny, and some really, really great tender moments as well. You obviously had to have actors that were going to go there. And actually, someone even mentioned last night about certain scenes they had to do in their auditions, which was quite funny as well. You know, you as a director, they've got to have trust in you, trust in your crew, trust in your story. You know, is there kind of certain things that you work with the actors to kind of help them, or did you kind of just have very good exploratory actors that were kind of quite free and feel free to do what they wanted to do?
I mean, I basically, for those intimate scenes, I talked to them. Well, first of all, I made it clear before they even got the part. Like, look, this is what the movie is. This is how we're going to do it. But then on set, I talked to them and wanted to make sure that they felt safe with doing it, and just sort of talked about how we would shoot it and what they're it was a discussion about what they were going to be comfortable with and what, but also just explaining sort of why it was necessary.
Yeah.
In my mind, to the story and to the characters, and why I thought it would work and it would help the movie, not just for the sake of doing it.
I think one of the really things I enjoyed the most was that it didn't take me long to really feel for the characters and want to understand their story, but they all kind of had a great likability factor about them in completely different ways, which was great. Obviously wrote that and directed that very well. Now you obviously filmed at this house, this beautiful house, and you also lived there as well. So what was that kind of experience like, living and working in the same kind of space all together? I imagine you got to know each other very well.
Certainly, it was very intimate. I mean, the story is about a bunch of people living in a house together.
Yeah.
So then we were also actually doing that while we're shooting the movie. So it was the lines between real life and the movie started to blur.
Yeah.
Because the movie's not just people living in a house, but it's people like affecting each other, and a lot of people annoying other people. Obviously in comedic ways in the movie, but that started to happen in just the when you have over 20 people living in one house. Of course, people are going to annoy each other. There's going to be different shenanigans within that, which is also what's happening in the movie. So it was really interesting, and I sort of was hoping it would happen, actually, that the lines would start to blur just so that some interesting stuff might happen, that we could use.
Yeah.
And it was just pretty interesting, just, not just in a general sense that the lines started to blur, but like in a specific sense, like the dynamics between actors off camera started to mimic what was happening on screen, like the captain and his son, like the actors started having like these long chats, late at night that were like, father-son type chats. Yeah. The two characters that are best friends, the guy and the girl, like they became really good friends. Yeah. Like it was very interesting how it all started to
come together. Yeah.
And real life. So that was cool. Beyond that, it was obviously challenging because it was the set. So then everyone's sleeping at it, and you have more than, one person per room. So basically the set's ruined every night. Yeah. And then we got to redress it. But then on top of that, there was no, my grandma doesn't have a garage. So there was no place to put any equipment. So it was all in the house.
Wow.
So basically, and if you remember the house, there's also a lot of furniture in the house. It's like a big open space type thing. Yeah. So, if you think about now, okay, you're shooting in the house, and especially on that first floor where it's like long, so you're shooting one direction, so you have to dress the whole thing and everything behind, the
right, and of course, yeah.
So we have to put all the stuff, equipment, people's bags, all
everything,
behind the camera.
Yeah.
And then we got to shoot the reverse angle, so then we had to switch sides and then move everything back, everything to the other side, dress that side. So it made it all it was challenging.
The things you do for filmmaking, you don't even realize it, do they?
If possible, I would recommend not living on the set because it's just that it's so challenging to have to keep redressing and move stuff around outside of the camera, and then want to adjust the shot a couple inches, then you have to take care of this whole other part of the.
Well, you've obviously got to have a great trusting crew to work with as well, as another factor, because I thought it was beautifully shot, it's really, really beautifully shot. And I imagine, it was quite a tough one to edit, but wonderfully edited as well. How did you go about finding your crew?
The crew also similar process of putting up an ad on a website.
Yeah.
A crew website. That's how we got summer crew. Some of the crew were sort of people we knew or recommendations. It was a very small crew. I mean, very tiny. If you look at the credits, there's a lot of positions missing that would be on a normal.
When you see, because normally, even at independent features, when you see it, it's normally, quite a long list of credits. And honestly, the credits of people you had in your team, I was like, wow, you made this epic feature film, and you really obviously had a great, solid crew, and obviously solid cast to make that happen. Because like you said, a lot of different roles, were missing, but my goodness, you made it happen, which was incredible to you. Now, obviously, there were challenges. Was there one, obviously, apart from maybe living in the set and everything else, was there one big challenge maybe you had technically, or even just something you faced whilst you were there that you had?
I mean, I think the biggest challenge was just trying to shoot the whole, as much as we had to shoot or wanted to shoot, in the amount of time that we had. And so shooting a whole feature in 15 days, especially with what we're talking about, where it took all this time to actually set everything up, and we didn't have a full crew. And so, but just shooting that many pages, we shot, I think, about 100 pages in 15 days. And
wow,
it's, the speed at which you have to move, especially when, like I said, with these other challenges, that was the biggest thing, is just moving, getting it, and moving, and like I didn't, it's a comedy, and so, performance matters in anything, but like, for it to work, you got to get certain things, and it was basically, I just knew, if I had all the money in the world or whatever, like, on a normal thing, comedies, I hear a lot of directors talk about 6 takes, as being like about what they like to get every time. And so, if we'd had that many takes, it would have been like, all right, let's try this, try this. Actors, you gotta take whatever you want to do, but we didn't. It was basically like I had to go in with my vision of the scene. I basically had to help, direct the actors to get there as quickly as possible, like 4 takes at max, usually only 2 or 3. And so that was just real challenging, because it was like, certain things got to be worked. And,
no, of course.
And it was just like, I wish I had more time.
Well, I mean, it's very hard to make a comedy as well, because there's so many more elements that you've got to make sure you try and capture, that you get, you respect the writing, that there's room there to kind of try a few different things. You as a director, was there any influences that you had, either community directors or just in general, that you felt that you had, before you got into sort of directing yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just to sort of expand a little on what you were just saying, the comedy is the one genre where everything has to work for it to work. Everything, acting, timing, music, writing, like every little piece has to work. So it's a big thing. It's a big thing when you don't have a lot of time. So anyway,
absolutely.
I think, I don't know, that people that don't do comedy appreciate quite how hard it is.
It's true. Very true.
But as far as influences, I would say, Larry David. Stinking
Larry David, actually.
I've seen every episode of Seinfeld and Curb Your Enthusiasm, like Curb Your Enthusiasm, 5 or 10 times. And you can see the influence in this movie of the intersecting storylines with different characters, which sort of became his trademark.
It's brilliant. Now, obviously, you live in here, but you shot it on the East Coast, and obviously got the majority of your cast and crew over there. Then bringing it back to LA, having a New Filmmakers LA. What's been the experience like bringing your film here to New Filmmakers in Los Angeles?
It was great. It was a nice big theater, which was good. That was the biggest theater. I mean, I had only screened in New York, but it was a much smaller theater, so that was like a nice big theater. Really good crowd.
Yeah, you had a great crowd. My goodness, they loved it.
Yeah, it was a great experience to watch in that crowd. It's like, I was so intimately involved with post-production, overseeing, like cutting and watching every cut, and then through the sound and music and all that, and then even after that, I've seen it so many times.
Yeah.
Right. That it had become completely stale to me. Like, it was not, and it was even hard to watch it.
Yeah.
This experience of watching with the audience, where they were laughing a lot and all that, it was like a reminder, like
why we did it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yes, but also it was like a reminder. Oh yeah, that is funny.
Yeah.
Like I completely forgot because I.
Yeah, you've seen it so many times. Yeah.
So
That's really nice when you can feel that as a director, because especially getting in front of a fresh new audience, and it is nice because you do get to that stale point. You've been in the editing room for so long, you're like, oh my goodness, like I don't feel anything anymore. I feel numb.
Yeah.
So that's a really good feeling. What's next for you?
I've written another script, and I'm just looking for actors and financing, and
Excellent,
trying to
yeah.
package it.
Same genre?
Same genre, comedy. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I mean, I think what you created was epic. An epic comedy. I really advise anyone to see it, because it's just hysterically funny. It certainly will change your day if you've had a bad day. It's definitely a great one to watch. But no, thanks for your great talent. Honestly, really, really good, and we're looking much more. We're very much looking forward to see much more of your work. So, Rafael, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Congratulations.
Thanks.